let's move on. We're going to talk next about the only game in this week's episode.
Yay!
And I believe it's one near and dear to your heart,
Oh,
Jones.
yeah.
We're going to talk about Dreams,
Oh,
the only big release from the last 3 weeks, I guess, unless you count Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Right.
This has just been an awful beginning to the year. Unfortunately for us, though, we did get Dreams, and this game, in my opinion, is freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's really incredible.
I'm reviewing it right now, so like I'm so zoned in on this conversation. I saw this on the rundown.
Perfect timing.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I've been playing it.
And haven't really talked about it on anything that we've done, really.
Well, it just came out
my experience
Friday.
Specifically in the last week or so.
Were you in the early access beta and everything?
Yeah. I didn't get in it right away.
So you weren't as shocked as I was
pulling my hair
to
out.
Go in like middle of week last week and see what was going on
Sure.
in there.
I was plenty shocked because I stopped playing around like August, like right after we had the kid, and it was just kind of like, okay, time to reprioritize. Sorry, Red Dead Online. So there were a lot of stuff that I'm revisiting now that I hadn't only checked out, or somebody said like, oh yeah, this is the level I'm gonna build. Here's a little bit of it, but I haven't done the full thing yet. And so then going back and be like, oh, I remember this. Whoa, like what did this thing become? Or
just the breadth of. And the overall quantity of content available on. I mean, I got the review code last Tuesday, I think it was. So I got to play it a few days before it actually launched.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went in there on Tuesday and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just overflowing with content.
But it comes at you from all directions. You just never know what the hell is going to happen in any of these things. It's kind of like, I don't know. I this is dangerous because I haven't really dug into this game, but it's kind of a Stanley Parable kind of thing where there's not just tremendous production values, but you're so surprised every 5 seconds. And that's the thing, is it's not just what people can specifically do with the tools. I think it's something like Super Mario Maker where it's like, oh, it's clever given those limitations, and it's tough to get to the limitations of what people
I have not found them
can do in here. Yeah, it's pretty all over the place, and it's a bummer because I'm going to be reviewing it and putting an official score on it. And it's
the hardest game to
checked
review.
Out, 15% probably of the total output that people have made.
We have someone else writing the game eval, and he sent it to me, and he's like, "Man, I have no idea how How do you score this? How do you score the graphics?"
Yeah.
How do you score
when you can make them better?
Right. How do you score audio?
I don't like the way this level looks.
Right.
Just
well, then
jump
just
in there and have fun.
Right. Tear it down and build it up again.
I mean, to me, the biggest question, because I think of it's so easy to get excited about this game and talk about this game, but if you legitimately don't care and you're just like, why on earth? Should I be excited about this? To me, one of the main things, because I'm not a stranger to. I mean, this company, first of all, Little Big Planet 1, 2, and 3, which I remember Matt Blair wanted to give Little Big Planet 3 a 10 or something when he reviewed it. And I had played 1 and a little bit of 2, but I didn't play 3. But I was a big fan of Disney Infinity. I'm a big, Lego games and anything that you have, some kind of creative outlet. Minecraft, you can just build stuff and make stuff tick. I love that, but I think inevitably, you either have kind of limitations like you do with Minecraft, where it's it's going to look like Minecraft no matter what you do, or you have something super complex like Gary's mod, where it's oh yeah, you can actually go in and make these things, or even Unreal, or even some engines that are very user friendly, or Little Big Planet.
Unity.
3 really, Unity is a great example. With this, the gaps that you need to fill in order to actually start to build stuff and then, not only get better at it, but enjoy the process of getting better at it. It's good to be an accomplished guitarist, but learning guitar sucks. Learning Japanese sucks. These things are really hard to do. You have to have a really good, work ethic and just really commit to those things. And so it's really been fascinating to have Media Molecule and see them get 7 years or more. Who knows
crazy.
How much they've been working on it before we even got
this
the
may have been a project
reveal.
they've worked on since they were founded.
Right.
I feel like Little Big Planet, they were just steps towards this, basically.
And so, to see them get as much, support as they have, to just kind of figure out this platform in general. And clearly something, we had them in the studio and I was like, you don't have to nod or smile, but I know this is going to be on PlayStation 5. We know this is going to be on PSVR. This is going to be something that, Sony's going to support for a super long time.
Oh, it's a platform. Yeah.
And just so it's fascinating to see them really invest in long-term, and I think really challenge more than anything that I've played before, to have, your average, someone who feels that they're so far away from the creative angle of any of these games, to just hit that point where they're like, okay, all right, I'm just going to download the template for a first-person shooter and just mess around. And it's you'll be surprised how
thank God for the templates.
Much fun you have. And
thank God for the templates, though, because one thing I will say, it is amazing. I mean, just right off the bat, it's amazing what people are creating. There's no doubt about it. Sometimes you get stuff like this.
Of course, but this to me is like, also the magic. Like Amanda and I played co-op on like probably 30 of the worst games that are available in Dreams and just cackled like the entire time.
Some of them are funny, some of them are not.
Yeah, well, because you can bail so fast. You're out. Like you're not going to get stuck in something. It doesn't take long to load the next one.
That's true. So, it is pretty quick in and out.
Yeah,
you don't have to spend a lot of time there.
And if you are a stickler for the best of the best, like they do have some playlists that's just like all of these are good. Like,
yeah, the curation seems okay.
It's my biggest hit against it. We're talking about how do you review this, and like that's my number one gripe is like you had a lot of time with the beta. I'm surprised this is not as organized as I thought it was going to be.
I think the big problem is that it relies a lot on user votes. And user votes are always going to go towards something that's recognizable. So, like when you go into the Dreamiverse, everything that's up that's like the most popular is like a Sonic clone or a Star Wars thing,
or a Superman thing, or a Batman thing,
and Spider-Man. Like those are and they're all terrible. Like, have you played the Spider-Man one?
Yeah, the Spider-Man one. The best one that I saw that I was like, holy cow. That I wouldn't say necessarily a clone. Somebody just built, not Isengard, but what's the White City in Lord of the Rings? The end of Return of the King, like where the finale takes place, where I cannot remember the name of the White City, but like just he built the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
And like you just walk through it in first person. You can do a menu. When you go out to the map of the menu, you can just like look at like the whole thing that they built. That's one that like I've built some Dreams and they're like, oop, you run out of room. And it's like, if I already ran out of room, how the hell did that guy build the White City?
I don't understand it either. Like when I first built my habitat, my little space, like I plopped down like 4 things and they're like, that's it. I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't even like covered the floor with grass or anything. Like, I haven't figured out yet like where the limitations come from.
I think cloning has a lot to do with it. I think when you like when you sculpt something and then you just like it adds like almost nothing to the map. Whereas if you actually like create a new thing or bring in a new element, and just as is proven with anything, once you add any sort of AI, the whole thing just has a heart attack. Like
I mean, that's also where the game to me kind of goes out of bounds a little bit. So I liked Little Big Planet. Mm-hmm. I liked Little Big Planet 2 more. Little Big Planet 3, I played hardly at all. Because I felt like I had kind of been through it.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
And so I get to Dreams, and obviously I'm going to give it another chance, but what I found is that it's still not fun to create. Some people don't want it to be fun because they're aspiring game developers, or they love Minecraft, or they love any sort of a game tool type game. For me, I really don't. Like I've never really got into Minecraft. I never got into Roblox or any of those other things. Like I like games that make the building a part of the game itself. And there aren't many games that do that.
Yeah. Fortnite.
Yep, it's one of them. Although now it's
forget about it.
You only realize
I still play Save the World. Darn it!
You only realize it matters when you play against somebody good, and they build like an entire house as a shield in front of you when you're trying to shoot them with your gun.
But they do. I mean, you boot up Fortnite, and there are 3 options: the single player, the multiplayer, and like just a pure level creator thing. So like they do have
like Dragon Quest Builders. Like it's not an amazing game. It's okay. It's passable. But see, there they actually gamify the building, where it's actually relevant to completing objectives within the game. This is all driven by how badly do you want to make a video game.
Yeah,
and it's fine. Like the tools are just as user-friendly as they could possibly be. Like, they have really done an amazing job making something that's very complicated as simple as it can be. For me personally, it's still way too much.
Yeah.
Like I can build a level and that's fine. And I can do that really quickly now. I'm used to it. But when I start trying to apply behaviors to things and AI to that's where it loses me. It's
fun to see Dreams that have like legitimate opening credits because you'll see Dreamers that got together and were like, oh, okay, dude, I have the whole idea, I built it. There's no logic.
Yeah.
I think I saw one person that like wanted to make a turn-based RPG. And
there is one.
Yeah. Oh,
like a good one.
There's a ton. There's like a Final Fantasy demo clone. It's funny. But they're, I think built the character, built the world, probably even was like tampering out with music and stuff. They were just like the logic part of it. I can't. And so I think you'll see that more, but again, that does take a grassroots effort. You do have to be in the forums.
Maybe that's kind of good.
You go to their website and you do have to dig in.
Maybe that's natural selection. Maybe it's good because if you have people like me trying to make stuff and uploading it, it's just going to add more crap and noise to cut through for the people who want to consume the good stuff on there. So
I think
maybe
a little bit of
that barrier of
is,
entry might be a good idea.
I think a little bit of that is curation. I also think that is not necessarily a war that this game needed to win, just really getting you and, convinced of that because of how much goofy single player stuff there is. And like I said, it's not a super expensive game. I think this game will clearly be supported by Sony for a very long time. And so it's like, you should do kind of like what I do with Fortnite, where it's like every 3 or 4 months, just like jump back in.
New season, just play it to see what's up.
Click the latest things. And it's like, they even have like trending right now. It's just a lot of it's really tough. I mean, some stuff you're jumping into is not finished, and it's tough to like know what those things are before you jump into stuff.
And I feel bad.
It's kind of the Wild West.
It's like, so I'll find something in the Dreamiverse and I'll play it. It'll be a piece of crap. But I can see, because I've been working on my own stuff, I can see how much work they put into it.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm sitting there.
That Spider-Man thing, there's some cool buildings in that map.
I mean, you can but it's awful, but you can see how much work that they've done on it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there with that moment where I give it a thumbs up or not. And I'm like, I really want to give this person a thumbs up because I know they're killing themselves working on this.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give it the thumbs up because I don't want other people to stumble on this and have to play it before it's done. And it puts you in this moral quandary where you're like, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't.
Right.
So I usually...
I'm pretty judicious with those thumbs
You give the thumbs up.
No.
You don't. I didn't either. You
got to convince me. Because
it's more important that
because it's early and there's really not...
Yeah.
I think just based on, name alone, I don't know. A lot of those things that I jump into, again, that one from Lord of the Rings is the only one I'm like, holy cow, I would buy this. This is insane. Where 99% of the other stuff that I see,
it's garbage for the most part. I do want to say this before we go any further. Everything that you've been seeing in this B-roll has been created in Dreams. So all this campaign footage that you're seeing, this is all created with the actual tools in Dreams. It's hard for me to believe.
Yeah.
Did you play through the whole campaign?
Oh, yeah.
It's only an hour and 40 minutes or something. It's not very long. But it will blow your mind that they've created everything with the actual game. There were times I was like, no. There's no way they made this with Dreams. But then you start poking around in the Dreamiverse.
No, sure.
And you'll start seeing shades of stuff that looks almost as good. There's a kart racing game in here that's like freaking amazing.
I know.
It's better than some of these crappy indie kart racers.
There are close to 100 games in here that are fantastic.
That are legit.
That are really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
And this game's $40.
And that's way more than I thought there would be. I'll be honest.
Yeah. And again, it's when you think about the fact that you're talking about. Here's
a Rezo Gun ripoff.
This one's so damn funny. The sound design on this one's really good because it's called Southpaw Cooking, and you got the phone in the other hand, and so the whole time you hear just like the Peanuts voice, like, and you're like, yeah, and so it's like it's impossible, but it's like just the way it's shaded.
I just used it to play with the
you can tell
the physics.
Is this the card game you were talking about?
Yeah, this is a kart racing game.
But again, a fun example of synergy.
Look at this. They built this in Dreams.
Yeah, man. And I'm
that
sure
looks
this
as good as Mario Kart 8.
I'm sure this person's just going to go nuts. You're going to keep jumping back in throughout the year. This is going to look even better on PS5.
Well, by the end of the year, they'll probably have 15 tracks.
Totally.
I mean, look at this, dude.
All of these characters are characters other people have made in Dreams. So if you go into when you pick the characters, you can see the creator actually mentioned in the credits. And so it's like, what a fun thing to add. It's like Smash Brothers style. Yeah. Wouldn't that be fun if Dreams had like a fighting game that everyone just keep adding characters? Man.
Yeah. And there's just one master fighting game.
Yeah, and then we'll certify them and put them in. There's just a Smash Brothers. You can just do like 16-player multiplayer with everybody on PS5. And so it's like...
And that is one thing I love, is that you make something and you can share it, and then anyone can take it. So if you're like, I don't really want to build a tree, you can go in the Dreamiverse
trees,
and you can find all the trees that people have created.
And that was not necessarily there when it went into beta last year. And so it's been interesting to build that over time. And so it's like we've all been, even when something that's I think been kicking ass, like Division's been a little rocky, but like Apex Legends and certainly like League and all the huge games no one ever talks about because they're just doing fine.
I talk about League.
They're I just don't necessarily
people
talk
don't
about
like it,
because,
but I do
it. These things, it's always the question of like how much are they really going to support this? Like how much more is there going to be later? What's the interest in investing if it takes me a while? Because here's what I think of, like, people finally got not only, the beta started in January, but people were building stuff beforehand. Yeah. What happens when somebody launches a dream that they were like, hey, here's something I'm working on for 3 years. And I haven't done anything. I haven't revealed any of it yet because I just didn't want to.
Yep.
Because I'm kind of an
And
introvert,
here it is.
but I am a budding game developer, and and you're like, it's a free game. It's like this is a whole new thing that I can just jump in.
Yep.
And you're like, well, I have better things to do with my evening. It's like even if you play for 10 minutes, it's like it's a fun.
Well, again, the game is like $40.
Yeah.
So the entertainment
it's such a
value per
surprising
dollar.
game.
I mean, and that's really what it comes down to, right? Is how much fun are you going to have with this game for how much you're spending for the experience? And I think if that's the quotient that you're looking at, this is a no-brainer. Buy it.
I just think there's a clear 50-50 split between do you want to make stuff or do you want to play stuff. I think it would have benefited Media Molecule. I said this in person. I will always shout this out to just like try to imagine, because I know they're like, there's so many different people to check it out. And it's like, there's like 5.
Yeah.
It's like there really are like only a handful of personalities that are going to approach this game and have a really hard set opinion before they go in. Mm-hmm. And like the people that are like, I want to build stuff. Like, you don't need to worry about that.
Well, they're good.
They're pretty good. I think
and their tools are amazing.
I think they've catered mostly for those people.
I'd agree with that.
I think when you have people that are like angry about this game and are only playing it because a friend recommended it, it's like you gotta set it up in some way where you like dangle a carrot in front of them and guide them to be like, here's the hour where I guarantee you will have fun. And it's a little bit too much right now. Like, I don't know, do you like shooters? And it's like you need to steer. You need to pull me a little bit more. Let me bail at any time. But I think the roadmap going into this game could be a little bit more. I mean, I loved it, but just more beneficial to
the average
sales,
consumer.
to bring more people in that are skeptical. And
so the campaign in this is really short. It's only about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes long.
I don't think they try to sell it as more. I definitely got the vibe that it was going to be. I think it says so actually, like a movie length. I think it says like in the description. So it's like,
on this show, I just like to get that out there because there are some people who will only want to buy this for what Media Molecule. And here's one thing I'll say. What they create is pretty good. Like, Media Molecule should probably be making, like, traditional games.
And they made, like, 6 to 8 of their own levels as well.
Yeah.
Mod,
and their templates are, I mean, they basically have genre templates for you.
The tutorial stuff is all scripted very comedically, like a Doctor Who episode, and so it's all...
And it builds very slowly. Like, they do a good job of teaching you how to use the tools, and they do make it relevant to the game as far as the tutorials and things like that. But ultimately, when the rubber hits the road, it's like either you have the motivation to create something that other people are going to love or you don't. And I think that's where you need, if you're a consumer trying to figure out whether you should buy this or not, you need to think about what kind of player you are. If you're a person who just plays, I think it's a harder sell. Mm-hmm. If you're a person who loves to create, it's an easy sell.
Yeah.
But I think either way, I think you should buy it.
Totally, but it also makes me wonder how important like their quote unquote launch is. It's been around for a long time. You've been able to buy it for a long time. Not a ton has changed. They mostly just changed like the menu. Like like before they launched, and they added art stream. And correct me if I'm wrong. I have mostly been checking out a lot of old levels that I haven't played, but there's just like so much going on there that it's tough to be like, I understand all of it. Like, I can totally get a picture of what this looks like. But I think Dreams will be, only more valuable next month after that. Especially if like the price drops for like some like holiday sale or something at Christmas. It's like this game in a year, like.
And what if Media Molecule doesn't end up supporting this with some crazy game that they've built in the tools? It's possible. Yeah. I mean, they could keep updating it. Will it happen?
Yeah,
I don't know.
If you get if there's some like Dreams, or some like special PS5 with games package and just comes with Dreams and only for like $10 extra.
I mean, think about packing in Dreams with PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. Or just doing, having a free for life PS Now month or something. Where
right.
It's the PS Now game. All you gotta do is download it and you have it.
And you have it. Yeah. Because this game probably is ultimately going to live or die on the user created content. Let's be honest. It's not going to live based upon people being able to create.
But that's
it's going to live based upon people being able to consume the stuff that the other hard workers create.
But that's the beauty of it, is because we were talking about that, with creating content just at Viacom. But it's just like you think of all the ideas and all the stuff that hasn't happened because people aren't interested in doing it. And it's just like when you have these communities together. I think one of the things that kind of needs to break down is I think you have a lot of, and probably it makes sense, like you have a lot of people, introverts that are making games and are nervous to like reach out and meet other people.
Yeah.
And like kind of when you start to see some of those walls go down and like actual like companies like developing group, like you see a name anytime I see like, Jobo Productions, and it's just like Jobo's a dude.
Of course.
But when you start to see like, no, this is 10, 20, 30 dreamers that got together, to do this thing. It's just cool. I don't know. I'm more positive about the future of this game than a lot of other games I can think of.
I also think if you're just a player and you're not interested in creating, I think it'll be it'll be fun the first 2 days because you'll uncover all these goofy, like there's one where you just like stab blueberries with a fork and they scream. Like there's just all these weird like experiences.
There's one where you're just blowing boxes up and you hit the triangle button and it resets.
Yeah, that's it. That's all there is.
I did that for 45 seconds.
Yeah,
and it was a great 45 seconds.
Right. There's just tons of stuff like that. The first couple days, it's like the honeymoon period.
Of course.
Then you have the lay of the land at that point. You know that like, okay, if I check out 5 things, probably 3 of them are going to suck. One of them's going to be okay, and one of them's going to be really cool. And I think they can get better with their filtering, with their curation over time.
100%. It's the number one issue they have right now.
Yep.
Issue, but like,
and I think that'll be
easy
easy for them to fix. I understand why they want to put a lot of emphasis on user votes right now, because I think that's the easiest metric to kind of use. But I think the more they get their hands dirty with their curate, and we've learned this with SIFTD, with curating content. Like, you can't just put up everything because then it just turns into a bunch of noise. And I think if they get a little smarter, maybe hire some curators to go through the Dreamiverse and find the good stuff, not just look for stuff that has a bunch of thumbs up, because anything Sonic is going to be there, anything Mario, any of that stuff. It's always going to bubble up to the top. If you're like, I know that.
Well, it's like, I don't know. Like, it's interesting that they have that stuff in there. You know,
is it legal?
Many things. There's like 8 Zelda levels. There's like 4 Kokory forests.
Can they get away with that?
Well, they can't. I mean, all it takes is just Nintendo to call them and tell them to take it down, and I'm like, that hasn't happened. You know,
all they
like,
have to do is take, and that's right, because it's just like YouTube.
Everyone's like kind of cool with it.
The copyright holder also, like, requests, you have to take it down within a reasonable time frame, and you're covered.
With Minecraft and stuff, I think once you actually like get into like games, I don't think that's kind of the Wild West right now. I think it's more, they're much more looking at like YouTube and people actually like stealing the product itself. Where it's like, oh sure, you're gonna make some. Like,
I don't know, man. Nintendo is aggro, man.
Nintendo. I mean, I'm not here to say what Nintendo's gonna do. That's a fool's errand.
I mean, they shut down that awesome Super Mario 64 HD.
But there's Mario 64 is in there, man, right now.
Yeah,
you can play Dreams. Or at least just like the first part of it, and it's not bad.
Not terrible. Yeah. Here's one thing I would say about pretty much everything I played. I didn't think any of the controls in anything I played were razor sharp.
No.
And if you go back to Little Big Planet, look at like Invisible Walls back when that stuff came out. We always complained about the controls and the floatiness. And in this game, and now you can't really blame it on Media Molecule, but the bottom line is that the default settings for controls aren't great.
Yeah.
They still feel loose.
It's a baseline, it's a little
loose.
Wobbly.
And that kind of extrapolates out across pretty much every game on there. Again, something that they could fix with their algorithms and their code and stuff like that. So
it's funny, even just like the default like human that you're gonna drop in.
Yeah.
You okay there, buddy?
Yep. Yeah.
But I've seen some people figure it out. Like I've seen some people kind of cut past it and either like
I have not seen a great human yet.
No.
Some of them look okay until they move.
Yeah.
And then it's like they're all like,
I can't argue with that. I got
so there are limitations, but these are limitations that are not insurmountable mountains. They can work it out. They can code the game in a way that they can improve it. Yeah. So for a launch week, it's pretty freaking amazing.
And I think for right now, there are some things, we're talking about racing games, some of the fun stuff on there that kind of lean into, okay, if it's going to be wobbly, let me make it fun and wobbly. Like there's one, I can't remember the name of it. It's like Apocalypse or something. You're literally just a triangle and you're just like flying through the end of the world. And like buildings are collapsing, all this stuff is happening around you, and like it doesn't look great, but like you are going fast enough, and it is, and if you die, just you respawn right away, and so it's like it's just smartly done as like that was a crazy 2 minutes, and I think that's like please do that, please people that are making Dreams. It's like you start one and it's like in an age. It's like I don't have time. It's ambitious, and kudos, and a lot of that stuff of course will end after like the first forest, and they're like, all right, see you later when I actually have time to finish it. I'm a college grad. What can I do?
So we were both basically saying buy it.
Oh my goodness,
But do you think it will sell?
Especially too because it's so console. No, but we'll get to that. Especially when it's so console specific.
Yeah.
I don't see this. I don't think Sony's treated it like that. I don't think they've.
Have you seen any commercials for this?
I don't feel that desperation there. I think this is something that Sony realizes.
You put it out there.
It's like a montage sweetener.
Yeah.
It's like
no, you're right.
It's like it's something that anytime they're like boom, 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 PlayStation 5, like you're always gonna see like what the hell was that game? And it's like, oh, that's that thing that's bundled with the PS5 or whatever. You know, like that's that fun thing that we all just kind of goof around. That it just seems like almost every PlayStation owner has.
Just has.
You know, and so I could see it like, oh hey, look at that, it's in the top 20 again. You know, just it's still around. and just like once you, after 2 or 3 years, look at that chart, be like, oh, look at that, it's only gone up. You know, like it really just, because it did hit that point, kind of like with VR, where like
eventually
every now
it's
and then
going to
there's
get a
something
hit.
you're like, you have to.
Eventually there's going to be some game
nutty.
created in dreams that everybody loves, and that will be the tipping point. It's like I was saying off camera earlier about how when you work on YouTube and you're not one of the big guys, you're trying to find the hit. You need the hit to get people to your channels, and then they discover all your other content. And you're like, oh, well, everything else you're doing is great too, but you need that big thing to kind of make the spike to get people on board in the first place. So.
And if you're a Mario Maker fan, like, you know, Mario Maker levels are better now than they've ever been.
Oh, yeah,
like, that's just how it works. You know, it's like when you get the tools.
I mean, look at this. This is week one, and somebody built a freaking, that's insane.
It's so good.
This is insane.
And like, there's rubber banding. There's
it's everything. It's nuts. It's impressive, man.
It's I eked out a win. You know, it's like, well, you know what's fascinating for me? It's a good test. I actually want to make a short list of the levels that did this. You know, one of my goals for the review, I actually want to focus on much more community stuff than Media Molecule stuff. I have to show art stream, but like in the tutorials, but like everything else, I was like, no, I don't want to show the other levels they made. I really want to focus on like the weird stuff.
Yeah.
So I want to try to pick one level for every shot. I don't ever want to show a dream twice in the review, because I'm like 2 weeks late anyway. But it's funny because I only capture like 6 minutes like per level, and some of them I'll be done after 6 minutes.
You capture like a minute.
I'm like, this is fun, especially somewhere you level up and you're like, oh damn, I just got level 2, and it's like I could sink into this.
Yeah,
and actually, you know, because I'm sure the thing's only like 2
it's
or 3
also
hours
really
max.
dry right now. There's not a lot of other things to play. It helps.
But there's some things that the production values aside, like the person developing it had a fun idea and really developed, like, they at least got me hooked enough to be curious how this ends, or kind of like what. There was one platformer they called The Pilgrim that's just like chef's kiss. Like,
wow.
So, because the guy got it. He's like, you got 15 minutes? I'll make you feel like you beat a game. It's just each area is like, oh, I lit the torches. Oh, okay, here I go. Like, moving on. It's really well put together. Floaty, and
of course
has all the issues that the other things do. But it's interesting. I think there were like I said, there were like 10 or 15 of them that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to capture this, but I have to beat this because this is phenomenal.
You're enjoying it. Yeah.
Ruckus is, you play Ruckus, man?
Yeah, it's impressive.
Ruckus is really good. And it's funny because the VO comes in from like the medics and the news people, and it's clearly some like 12-year-old kid who just,
that was crazy.
Clever dude who's got a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like an updated version of, what's that old arcade game where you Rampage?
Yeah, Rampage.
Yeah.
And I think there's even like a couple Rampage jokes in there.
Yeah. It's amazing.
But like,
I played that until it was over.
Gonna do?
Yeah, and it's like, how many buildings can I destroy before the time? And I played it all the way to the end. I played it the whole time. So there are some gems in there. And as time goes on, there will be more. But I think right now, both of us recommend people buy it.
Space Cadet 2020. If you have dreams and you're like, Space Cadet, I haven't heard, that was a good example. A game that does graphics and floaty and that has nothing to do with it. It's just kind of what the person did. And I can't think of a game outside of Unity and Unreal and stuff like that where you could.
And there are people that just create cinematics.
Movies, just music.
Yeah,
just
like somebody recreated the opening to Episode 4, Star Wars Episode 4. And it was rough around the edges, but it was cool. They actually managed to do like the text scrolling into space. And
I saw something that was just like a spaceship taking off from a planet, and some Robotech comes by and
just tackles
hits the engines and flies away, and you're like, that's it. It's a 15-second animation, but it's amazing.
Stuff like that's cool. Yeah. And you get stuff. There it is, right there. Like they totally did. So it's pretty insane.
Yeah, you just get all these people together, and just as someone who's like goofed around with the tools, and I even hit a point. Inevitably, I'm going to hit some point, Shane, where I'm going to find some logic thing and be like, oh, God. Because I do actually have 2 dreams that I'm like, oh, this is like a game idea I've always wanted to do that I knew wouldn't cost too much, but enough that hell no, I'm not going to invest in that. And so I'm like, maybe I could do it. And just the moment it gets down to like, well, I want to do this thing that affects the entire world.
Yeah.
How does that work? Do I have to go person by person? And
it's too much. That's where I draw the line. I can't do it.
But once you find it, like text is a great example. Like I wanted to build something that had text for the review itself, just to kind of show like, discovering new tools. And once I was like, oh, that's how that works. You kind of get, so like, all right, now I want to mess around with text for a little bit and see what I can do. And that's how subtitles work, and that's how menus work. I'm like, oh, neat. So like if you do kind of push yourself, you have these little victories. And again, it just doesn't feel like something where it's like, all right, I really got to commit to this for a month, and then I'm out. It's like, again, like I just see myself, kind of, oh yeah, dreams. I haven't played that in a month.
Well, something will pop up. A game will pop on YouTube.
Polygon's going to tweet this every day. There's going to be some other.
That is right in
look
their
what
wheelhouse.
somebody bought. And so
Kotaku.
Sure, let's do it. Greg Miller's been a big champion of this. He built something like and just in the community focused stuff. It's like if you have. You just build a studio, man. Just have people deathmatch on this desk.
Yeah, like when first I was like, okay, what am I going to build? And I was like, okay, I'm going to take the SIFTD logo, I'm going to lay it down flat, and I'm going to make a maze out of it, and I'm going to make a shooter. And then, like, I got literally like an hour and a half into it. I was like, see ya.
Everybody, all the guys were making fun of me because I'm like, Dream's really intuitive. And they're like, what have you built? And I'm like, I've started building a lot of things. And they were like, yeah. And I'm like,
have you finished anything?
It's like I'm not interested. It's because that's what hits you in the face. You're like, oh.
It gets to the hard part, basically.
This takes a long time.
Yep. So anyway, that's Dreams.
Give it time.
2 thumbs up from the both of us. We both say buy it. It's cheap. You'll be able to play it for the rest of your life, honestly.
Relative to what you get. And again, as you're just a PlayStation owner, it's like, this is coming to PSVR, and then, oh boy, that'll be fun.
This
to
actually
be in VR with the controllers and just like,